Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is a different kind of video. Today we're actually talking about productivity tips and system that really worked for me this year. So this year was the year I really started to actually do a proper goal planning in the beginning of the year and actually changed my year a lot. It made me very productive and I feel like it's probably one of my most productive year yet. My friends ask me sometimes how I juggle everything, and I like to tell them that I like to make sure everything is streamlined and everything has their own system to basically work smarter, not harder. So I want to share this in case you're looking for ways to make your next year more productive. Just in case you're looking for ways to make your next year more productive. This is going to be part of a 3-part series. So first part, we will review this year, which is this video. And then there's going to be another video coming in probably a week about my goal planning for next year. So we'll take a look on my goals, what I want to do for next year, so on. And the third part is going to be a quarter one planning. So we'll break down the yearly goals into quarters and then we'll plan for the quarter. So that's a big timeline of it. I feel like because I did this last year, it gives me more accountability to actually do it. So that's why I'm doing it again this year. But I also hope that it's going to be helpful for you. So my big focuses last year was the market. I want to do a shop update. That's kind of tied in together. I also want to hit 3K on YouTube, which I did. Thank you so much for all of you who's been here for the long time, or if you just joined, thank you so much for being here and commenting and watching my videos. It really means a lot. And I also wanted to make sure I keep to budget, because with the rising cost of living and everything, it really comes to a place where I really need to be better with my budget and actually follow it. So those are my big focuses this year, and I'll tell you how I managed to hit those goals with some systems, if that makes sense. So anyway, what worked for me this year was, I thought I'll put it in like a nice little whiteboardy thing so that, you know, you're not bored just hearing me ramble and stuff. The first thing that worked well for me this year to start the year actually setting up goals. So number one is, it's important to have that goals in the beginning of the year, but if you're watching this in the middle of the year, you can also do it by quarters. I actually really like planning it in quarters just because it's a much shorter time than a whole year. There's this thing they call a 12-week year. So I find it really helpful to actually set up your goals per quarter, because a quarter is not too long, it's 3 months, right? If the timeline is shorter, you're actually more likely to do them than if your time limit is a whole year, because a whole year is very long. So if you don't divide it up by quarter or smaller, it's gonna be harder, because you're gonna keep pushing it because you're like, yeah, I still have 8 months, that's plenty of time, I just need like, you know, a few months to do this. And then suddenly it's already too late, it's already November, and then you're like, oh, I wasted a whole year because I didn't plan properly. So I like to, ever since I adopted the quarterly kind of like planning, like the 12-week year, that actually helped a lot. What I like to do is to do one big goal each quarter. So this is important because I get bored sometimes, and the fact that the goal is only for 3 months keeps it fresh for me, and then the next 3 months I'll focus on something else. So say there's areas in your life you want to improve. For the first quarter you focus on something, and then once you already get that going, and then you add an extra goal. So for example, if you want to eat more healthy, maybe your quarter one is about eating healthy. So then by the end of the quarter, you already figured out a system which makes it easier for you to eat healthy, right? And then on the second quarter, maybe you focus on going to the gym. So you already have the healthy food for the quarter one, and then for quarter two, it's already a habit for you. You've already figured out your systems, so it takes less time for you and things like that. Maybe you meal prep, and then by the time you get into quarter two, you focus on going to the gym instead. So it's something like that. I feel like that was really good for me, but I was focusing on different things in regards to my business. So this is my goal planner in my Notion. If you watch the Notion tour video, you might already seen this, but this is where I have all my goals in, and I put them in a task list to actually do it. So this template will get you through. It's a review of reflection of your year, and then you'll be invited to do your vision board of what you want for each of the areas of life, and then after that you will score it depending on where you want to be and where you think you are, and then we'll make some long-term goals on how to achieve this dream life that you have. And then once you've done that, you set up the long-term goals. Long-term goals are usually for around 5 years. And then once you get all this, you go into a yearly goal reflection. So this is when you reflect of your past years. I know there's a lot, but if you do it and you set it up once, and then every year you just have to do it in the beginning of the year, and then the goal kind of like, the way I do it is I do a big chunk in the beginning of the year to plan everything, and then each quarter it's just the planning for that quarter, so it's pretty quick. So this is yearly goal setting. So this is for the whole year, and then you can put them into quarters. And once you get into quarterly goals, you get this display in which you put a few focus areas. I usually put around 3 focus areas. So I'll need to do this for this year as well. And then this is all the task lists depending on which quarter it is. And then you can move it around. Next is a bonus. If you actually track your habits in here, you can track it. I don't actually track habits on here, but it's included in the template anyway, just in case you like to track your habits. And then there's also quarterly goals review. Every quarter I do reviews, but also every month I actually do reviews as well. Each of the month I do a little bit of review. It doesn't always go well, but yeah, dividing it into quarter was really game changing for me, because like I said, I get to focus on smaller little goals every quarter, and then in the end of quarter I get to review, and then I get to set goals on the next quarter as well. It can be the same goal. If you still want to carry it over, you can, but ideally, because I get bored often, I like to do a different goal for each quarter, so that worked well for me. However, next year, what I want to do is I want to plan even more detailed. So usually in the beginning of the year, I only plan for the quarters. I think next year I want to plan more granularly. So per month, I think I want to try that. I just want to try something different and be better next year. So that's one. One is set up goals in the beginning of the year. And then 2 is focus on planning. So like, you know, one of the big goals for me this year was to table on a market. So I will show you this market insert. And I realized that this year, when I get stressed, I actually plan in detail, which is, I guess, good, because in order for me to release my stress, I need to be able to know what to do. So I plan my weeks ahead very carefully. So this is my market insert. So what I did when I found out that I was accepted for the market, I got around 6 weeks, I think, to finally to prep for my market. This was my first market, so obviously there was a lot of things to do. Like right now, if I do another market, it's probably not going to be as intensive as this, but this was really overwhelming me because I feel like there was just so much to do. So what I did was I break it down week per week and what I have to do, and that really helps. In the end, I didn't follow it properly. Like there's a lot of things that moves around, just because sometimes I'm into doing this thing more than some other things. Like I was in a role at restocking stickers, so I moved some of my other stuff like memo pads and stuff down and things like that. But having this plan of attack really helps me, because it just tells me what I have to do by when. Because some of these steps, you need to do some steps before the next step. Like this whole week was for displays, and I can't do any displays if I don't do all the, you know, the new items and stuff. So I have to make sure these are done before this. So just knowing all those stuff, it makes it so much easier for me to actually do it in order that it makes sense. So it's really good to plan ahead. I also every week I do a tracker and focus on it. So I figured out that it's really important to actually plan properly if I'm stressed. But it's like depending on how you work, right? You might be someone who doesn't plan a lot and just do it. But I found out I used to be like that actually. I used to not plan a lot and I just spontaneously do things. But I figured out this year, the moment you actually put things to plan, you're more likely to do it, especially if it has a deadline. This is the thing with me. Like I struggle with procrastinating a lot, but the moment that I have a deadline to it, I will work towards it because I know you cannot move it. You have to do it right now because there's a deadline, right? So deadlines are always good. This was my market insert. So every week I put down like, the tracker, what did I do, what I want to do and everything like that. I do some reviews as well, but it's been really good having an insert just for the market prep because I know it's a really big thing. Forward planning is really good, but I also, like I said, I really needed it to be a little bit more flexible because I need to feel like I want to do something in order for me to do it well. So these things tend to move around a little bit. This was actually an eye-opening experience and it's definitely a highlight of my year that I actually managed to pull it off. Not just because of the market that was really great, but the fact that I can plan all this and then execute it, and then like basically the whole thing was just, I feel like a success story for me because I'm not usually this organized, to be honest, but I'm trying hard to be more organized, to have more time to do other things. So yeah, so number 2 is to focus on planning. Make sure flexibility wise, depending on you, but I like my plans to be a little more flexible. So the deadline is still there, but to be able to be flexible to do things that you want to do first, I think that would be really great. But also you need to know the order of things and what makes sense to be before or after something else. So I think those are really important. That's focus on planning. So this is goals, this is planning. Number 3 for me that work really well is to set systems, not goals. So this one, when you have a goal you want to achieve, you kind of just set systems to get to that goal. For example, I really want to eat healthier this year, but I actually don't like cooking. I don't enjoy thinking about food and actually, doing groceries and cooking. And because of that, because I don't have a plan, sometimes I just get takeouts a lot, and that is not only bad for my budget, but it's also sometimes the food isn't that healthy because if you're in budget and if you want to save money and you want convenience, mostly what is it? Fast food, right? And it's not good for you. So I try to find systems so that I can have homemade food and it's not too long for prep and everything. So I tried ingredient prepping this year. So what it does is you prep the little sauces, the little meats, the little things, and then you kind of just assemble as you go. So it's not too much day by day, but the beginning of it is quite much. And in the beginning I did a really big ingredient prep, and then I realized I actually still need some flexibility. So in the end I do a little bit of hybrid where I do a meal prep, but I also freeze some of those so it lasts a little bit longer, but I also don't have to eat that food every single day, if it makes sense, because I do like variety. So that is setting a system for yourself, right? After trialing a few things, the middle ground that you like for me it was basically half meal prep, half flexibility. So sometimes if I don't want it, I'll just make something easy or something like that. But if I just really can't be bothered thinking about food, then I have something in my freezer ready to go. So for me that's really good to figure out what you like. And the second one is to break things down to smaller, more manageable chunk. So this is This is like what I've done for my market insert, right? It feels so overwhelming, but the moment you actually break down the chunks, I gave myself 2 focuses each week, and then suddenly it feels like I can breathe. I feel like I have a good plan of attack to actually do this, to be able to make sure everything is set. So this been really good, and I just have to make sure that it's in manageable chunk for every month. You can do it down further to days. I did that in the beginning, but then I realized after that I need to be a little bit more flexible, so I didn't plan as much as I did on the first 2, but everything still gets done. And the really great thing is, during the last week, I didn't have a lot of things to do in the last week because these was planned quite well. And I think the market was Saturday and Thursday afternoon. I think I already packed, so I was very prepared. I was surprised because I'm not usually a planner, you guys. This is just a new thing. And another thing is consistency is key. This is very important for me because building habits gets easier the more you do it. So do a little thing each day to get you into a goal. There was a really good thread in Reddit like years ago. There's a saying that says no more 0 days, which meant every single day you do something, no matter how little, for your future self. So then you know that day at least you've done something for your future self. One of the saying that I live by is no more 0 day. So each day I try to at least do one thing, no matter how little. This is the thing, I feel like motivation sometimes is an illusion because sometimes you just don't feel like it. But the thing is, if you get yourself up and try to do it, like say every single day you want to edit a little bit of the video, you might not feel like it. But if you start and if you just tell yourself, okay, let's do it for 10 minutes, we'll do it for 10 minutes and then we'll see how we go. If after 10 minutes you don't want to do it anymore, you've done 10 minutes of it, right? You already feel great about your day. But most of the time, if you've already done 10 minutes, you'll be like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm already nearly done. I'm 5 minutes away from halfway, say something like that. And then you're like, okay, I'll add another 5 minutes. And then because it feels good that you're doing all these things and being productive, it's contagious. And eventually, before you know it, you've edited the whole video. So it's probably very cliche to tell you this, but actually the best advice is to just start. Like just start, no matter how little, no matter how small you think it is, just start, because the moment you start and the moment you feel good about you being productive, you're going to keep doing it. And it'll feel so much easier to do because you already felt the dopamine rush of completing the 10 minutes. So there you go, just start. Okay, I'll just put that as well, just start. Can you tell that this is like a bit unprompted? Speaking about systems, another thing that might not be related, my YouTube system. YouTube, not systems, improvement. So YouTube is one of my focus this year. I changed up my thumbnails for this year. I like it so much more. I started swapping my monthly favorites video into categorized videos. So favorite stamps, favorite PET tapes, favorite this, favorite that, instead of doing like a monthly everything video. And that I feel like has done pretty well. And I feel like for the last 2 years, I wasn't putting a lot of effort into YouTube. Like I still post once a week or even twice a week sometimes, but it didn't really have the plan. So this year I wanted to be really good that I planned it properly in my Notion as well. Should I show you? Maybe I should show you. So like I planned it properly, and for each of these, sometimes it has notes, sometimes it doesn't. Come on. Knowing what to film is really good, and I plan this ahead, usually 1 or 2 months ahead, and then I just film it slowly because I don't have a lot of time for this, right? Because I still work full-time. This is me making things hard for myself, but I really love natural lighting, so I can only film during the weekends because that's where the natural light is. Like in the weekdays, usually when I have time to film, it's already dark, so I don't get natural light, so I have to film in the weekend, so I have to really plan it. So that have videos out when I need to get it out. So this planning is really good. It also has all the IDs stuff that I want to film, and yeah, it's really good. I want to revamp this actually, because I feel like there's going to be a better way to do it. So I'm going to revamp this next year so I can be more productive. But just having those little systems, right, it works. Like for me, every month I have to film around 2 or 3 videos, just because haul and journal with me, usually that is whenever I get any hauls and stuff, I film it straight away. That already has backlog always. In my weekly journal with me, I film it when I stream. I usually stream on Sundays, but I haven't done it very regularly, but I still have a lot of backlog. So at least those 2 already have something, and then the rest I just have to add. It's not like every month I have to think of like 5 different video ideas. There's already kind of like a template. So each month has 1 whole video, 1 weekly journaling video, 1 kind of like a favorite video. This I have to think of usually what kind of favorite video you want. So if you have any ideas on what favorite video you want, let me know. And then a plan with me, so I already have that systems in place, you see, so it's easier for me to think of new things and then film it and quickly, like, you know, edit it and things like that. And another thing that I also like doing is dedicating like the last 2 weeks to actually edit and post my video. Usually what I try to do, by the time the end of the month comes, my videos for the next month is already scheduled. So that's why you find sometimes I'm a bit late, because I schedule my videos that way. But that really works for me, for someone who is actually working full-time but also is working on other things on the side. So I don't know how to say this is also systems improvement, but for me that really worked in that there's already a system with my YouTube Madness, and it really worked. So I really like that for YouTube. And then number 5 is budgeting. Like I said, this year one of my focus was budgeting. With all the rising cost of living, your money doesn't go as far as it used to, so you need to have a proper budget, so to make sure that you're not overspending and things like that. And what I did last year was to do a Notion budget planner, and that has worked really well for me. This is the finance tracker that I have, and what is really good about this is not my own that I filled up, by the way, because there's numbers in that, and that's a little bit private. But this is the template that I have in my Gumroad. If you're interested, there's also a video accompanying it that gives you more details. But anyway, I'm just taking you through this like very briefly. But with the budgeting section, what you do is you fill in all your expected income, and then you figure out how much to go to needs and wants and savings, and then you put out all the savings that you want, and then it will calculate, like, depending on the goal amount and then time frame, it'll calculate how much savings you need to do per month. And then once you've done that, you put it in here, right? You put it into your budget, and also all your other stuff like your food, your transport, your personal bills, blah blah goes in here as well. And then once you've done that, this is your dashboard. So you put your expenses in here, and then the moment you put your expenses in here, it's calculated automatically, so you know which one, like, you know, that is over budget, so you know not to spend too much. And then you know that, like, you know, you're not spending too much yet for that one. And then there's this section as well that I really like, that shows you if you're up to date and how much budget you've used and how many days passed, so you can always see in a glance if you're on budget or not. Like with this one, it says how much you spent for your expenses this month, and it also tells you how much remaining in your budget that you still have. Before I buy things, sometimes I see like, oh, okay, say I already overspent on food this month, that means no more eating out for me. I'll just, like, you know, make do with whatever I have in my pantry and things like that. And like if you already did like a big hobby haul this month, then wait until next month before you do another one. So those kind of stuff. And then you can also, have all your income set and stuff. And then there's a little bit more pages, like there's a tax deductible section that you can do, and all this kind of stuff. I won't get into details with that because there's another video that takes you through that. I'll link it down below. But anyway, the budgeting was working really well for me. I actually kept the budget so much better this year because of that planner. So even if you're not a Notion person, if you do that manually, it takes a little bit more to do it manually. But if you can keep to a budget, if you have like numbers, I feel like the beginning budgeting where you actually put down all your numbers, that's really important for you to know how much you can spend in a month. So that beginning bit is quite important. And then the tracking, that depends how you do it. Maybe if you want to do it on a spreadsheet, if you're more comfortable in a spreadsheet, that works as well. But as long as you know how to track it, because I used to kind of just log my purchases after the fact. I don't keep to budget because most of the time I was just logging things. Like there's no way for me to know in the middle of the month if I'm on budget or not. And that Notion planner has really helped me keep to budget. So it's working super well for me. So this is system as well. Like I said, if you have a system that works for you, it helps make everything easier. So for me, the system is the Notion planner. Okay, cool. And another thing that's really important for me is make time for review. So reviews are really important for me to know if I'm on track, what I can improve, and if things are working or not working. So what I do is every month in my goal planner, I actually do a review. So say this is my October, what I achieved, what I learned, what I can improve for next month, what I'm grateful for, like struggles and goals for next month and things like that. And this has been very, very useful for me, just because it forces me every month to actually find what's working and what's not working, what I want to improve, what is my goals. And I feel like it's very important. You can do it as often as you like. You can do it weekly even. Actually, I started adding this into my weekly as well. It doesn't always get filled, but sometimes when I have time, I fill them in. So then in the end of the month, I can kind of just, because sometimes I forget, right, what's happening and stuff. So that is really useful for me to do that. So I want to do that a little bit more. Like I've only started this like recently, so I want to do a weekly review as well. But mostly for this year, I've been doing a monthly review. But next year, I think I want to try to fill it up as often as I can, so I get in the end of the month. Because sometimes at the end of the month, I'm like, what did I get up to? What did I achieve this month? And I can't remember anything because there's recency bias, right? If it's recent, then you remember it, but if it's in the beginning of the month, you already forget it. So it's important to have that practice, I feel like. And then that lets you to always think about what you've done, and also, for gratitude and things like that. It's very nice. So important for me, so I want to do that more often as well. So that's number 6, which is make time for review. So what do I say? Quarterly. So that's my 6 what worked this year. And there's a bonus, which is to surround yourself with people who support you and in the same kind of boat as you. I feel like that's very important, and I find that it's very inspiring for you to have people around you that is in the same boat as you. So I think there was a saying that says you are actually the average of 5 people you spend time with. So I feel like that was really important. And the 5 people that you hang out with is also including all the people you follow and you listen to. Like if you listen to a lot of productivity people on YouTube, then that makes your 5 people as well, because that is also an influence as well, right? If you the more you listen to someone, the more you get ideas on how they think and stuff like that. So I feel like that is also very valuable. So that is things that work for me, but not everything works for me, right? So there's a few things that didn't work for me this year, and one of them is backlogging. Like, I've been really bad at backlogging this year, seriously. For my weekly memory keeper, I used to be so much better because I used to stream way more regularly, but this year it's just been on and off, like mostly off than on. But right now I just finished catching up on May, so that was my last one I catched up on, and the rest of it is still empty. This is not good enough. Next year I want to try to maybe pre-decorate so I don't have to catch up so much, but we'll see. So that wasn't really working for me this year. Another thing that wasn't really working is the shop update. Always feels like such a huge hurdle for me, especially making new things. I don't have a lot of confidence in making new things, so sometimes I push it off quite often for other things. So I really want to get better at that. I don't know how to yet. I'm still looking for ways to help me get better at shop updates and stuff. So if you have any ideas or suggestion, feel free to let me know. We'll see if that works this year, because I'm still learning a lot of stuff as well. And also, I am so bad at Instagram. I want to get better. I want to show up more, but I don't know, it's very low in my priority list as well, because it feels like it's an easy thing to just post like a post, but I don't do it as often as I should. Like somehow with YouTube, because you need to plan it properly, you need to edit it, and then you need to do other things. I feel like I'm way more up to date into that, and with Instagram I'm really bad. So I'm still trying to get better at that. Also, if you have suggestions or improvements that I can do let me know. But essentially, that's all what worked and what didn't work this year, and all my systems and goals that I did this year and that was really working. I hope that actually gives you some sort of idea if you're looking for ways to be more productive for next year and things like that. Let me know if you do like this kind of video. I'm not sure it'll be popular, but it's something that if it helps just one person, I'll be happy. If you watched till the end of me rambling all these things, thank you so much for being here. I very, very appreciate you, especially because this is not my usual content, but it's also something I like doing. So it's something that I probably still do even though no one watches. So we'll see. I just hope it helps someone out there. And like I said, this is the first video of a 3-part series, and in the next one we will be doing goals and New Year resolution for me for next year. So I just want to bring you through that, mostly for my YouTube and my shop stuff. So I hope that's interesting as well, but I will put that out in about maybe next week or another 2 weeks. So I hope you enjoy that one as well. I just want to thank you always for being here and watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed this one as well. If you watch up until this far, let me know if you actually have systems or something that worked this year that you want to share. I would love to know, and I would love to learn from you guys as well, because I feel like it should be always a two-way street, and I'm always all for learning from other people's experiences. So let me know down below. I'm always very thankful that you're here and listening to me, even though most of the time I just ramble. But thank you so much for being here. I hope you stay safe, you take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.